I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the sixth branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Donald Trump announcing the eventual creation of a new branch of the military. It will be the sixth branch, and it's called the Space Force. It will be an offshoot of the Air Force, which obviously already exists, and ironically enough, it was the most recent branch of the military created back in 1947. The Air Force right now, they deal primarily with bombers. They deal with planes, basically. They're not really devoting a lot of money and resources and time to high atmosphere assets, which is what I call them. To the average person, you may see a satellite and say, oh, it's in outer space. Not quite. It's really just very high up in the atmosphere, higher than you would actually be able to fly in an airplane or something like that. But it is in the actual atmosphere of planet Earth. And these satellites are very, very, very important to the country and to the world functioning the way it does right now. GPS satellites, very crucial for positioning, especially in dealing with the Air Force, because if you're doing attacks on certain countries, bombing or whatever, you want to be able to position where you are so you don't hit civilians. You want to know where you are so you don't get lost. These things are extremely important. Weather satellites so you know what's coming. You're talking about being able to predict hurricanes. Well, not predict them, but be able to track them. These things are very important to modern technology. Also, your internets. A lot of your daily Facebook, Twitter usage is determined by satellites in space. So these things are extremely important to modern society. And the reason why you need a military branch to protect these assets is because there are weapons that other countries have. I think we have it as well. But other countries are able to shoot satellites down out of the sky. China did that in 2007 with a test of their own satellite. It was a new weapon. They shot it up in space. It destroyed a satellite that they owned and left all kind of debris floating around the Earth. Now imagine if they shoot down multiple satellites, or if the Russians do it, or if someone else does it. You need to be able to prevent that from happening. You also need to have your own weapon to kind of fight back in a way. Now, hopefully we don't get into a high atmosphere or outer space war, but you need to be ready for that. It's a 2018. This is not years past where that might not have been an actual threat. We are here. We need to adapt lest we get left behind. But aside from protecting high atmosphere assets, Trump also wants to go back to the moon, allegedly back to the moon. I'm not really sure if he went there or not, but that's a different story, and I digress. He wants to send a man back to the moon, and he also wants to maybe explore Mars with an actual crew of human beings rather than a rover. Now, I'll be interested to see how that works out, and I'm not really sure about a timetable as far as when the Space Force is going to actually come to fruition, but maybe it will. I'm seeing all types of memes and stuff online talking about Trump's going to build a wall in outer space and all this, that, and the third. But, you know, memes aside, I think that the Space Force is something that is actually needed. If not a separate branch of the military, you most certainly need to focus on it right now, which we're already doing with the Air Force. The Air Force deals with the high atmosphere assets, but not necessarily dealing with the moon and Mars. My question would be, how does NASA fit in here? Are they going to be absorbed into the Space Force? I don't really know how that's going to work. You probably should just kind of merge them together so you can have the scientists know what they're doing, and then the armed protection you may need when you're dealing with high atmosphere assets, maybe even the moon, because I think maybe in the future you might be able to have a moon colony and then attack high atmosphere assets from the moon, or even attack the Earth. I mean, it seems kind of far-fetched, but we've come a long way in a very short period of time when you're talking about human history, from the times of not even understanding what oil actually was to discovering it and utilizing it for all types of different things. we're a long ways away from these technologies being perfect. I saw a Tesla car blow up again on the road. This time it was a celebrity couple inside. Luckily, they didn't die or get injured at all, if I'm not mistaken. I know they were living, but hopefully they didn't get injured. My point is that the technology we have, it seems like it's kind of far away from being perfect or being usable in a sense where you can go to the moon and shoot stuff down from there that are orbiting Earth or on the Earth itself. But either way it goes, I think that what Trump has done is just looking into the future to see what we're going to be up against rather than just living in right now and reacting to things that happen as they happen. So what do you think? Do you think the Space Force is needed? Did you kind of think about a silly thing when you heard about Space Force, like a cartoon character, video game, or whatever? Do you think that it's not needed? I think Mad Dog Mattis came out before. I'm not quite sure if he said it in relation to this, but he came out before and said that he did not want an extra branch of the military because it would cause all kind of undue red tape and bureaucracy. However, if the Air Force is focused on bombers and stuff like that, that low atmosphere stuff rather than high atmosphere stuff and or outer space, at a certain point you have to ask if these things are worth dedicating more time, energy, and resources to, or if it's not. If it's not, then I agree with him. But if it is, which I'm kind of leaning towards, then I think that you got to go with Trump and create a new branch of the military, or at least dedicate more resources, time, and energy in the Air Force to deal with these things that must get dealt with. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.